All righty, my friends. Well, we can go ahead and get started here. I'm super excited to have Jessica with us today. So without further ado, yeah, thank you so much. In this workshop, we'll learn how to master membership building in Kartra like a true ninja. Whether you're a novice or you have some previous experience, the knowledge and skill that our guest Jessica has will ensure that everyone will take away a lot of knowledge, feedback, tips and tricks, and take their membership building to that next level. We will have a short Q&A at the end of the call. So again, feel free to drop your questions in the comment box and we'll get to them. We will also have a replay link, and this is going to be live streamed in the Facebook group. So you guys can also go back to that in the Facebook group if you need to. But feel free to send us an email at community@genesisdigital.co if you have any questions, comments. If you just want to connect, we'd love to connect as well. So before we get started, I want to introduce our amazing guest, Jessica. Jessica has been using Kartra since its very first beta mode, actually in 2018. Soon after, she was invited to be a Kartra top expert by one of Kartra's board of directors, who quickly recognized her talent and unique eye for creating not only visually appealing sites that married both form and function, but profitable online systems that allowed users to work smarter and rely on automated systems to reduce many of the manual tasks in their day-to-day business marketing. Jessica credits her own success to the power of community, connection, and helping others. And she states that participation, showing up, and being an active participant in Kartra's online community was actually foundational to her success. And without that, she would not be where she is today. We are so grateful for her in the community as one of really the top commenters, top experts. It's amazing. So a few fun facts about Jessica is she is featured a Kartra certified partner, a repeat Kartra community member of the month. She's a Funnel Gorgeous certified master marketer, and she has been featured on numerous business and marketing podcasts, such as Flip Your Marketing Flops, Superwoman Soul, VA Tips, Tricks, and Advice, and The Styled Mind, and was a top 10 Launch Gorgeous participant for spring 2022. So we are so excited to have Jessica teach us how to become membership ninjas. And without further ado, here is Jessica Scotton.
Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Thanks for hanging out with all of us today. I'm so excited to see familiar faces and new faces in here as well. Short presentation, and then my plan is to actually jump into Kartra memberships and do a little building together so we can talk through some of the assets and the features of the membership itself, and then take some questions at the end. I have a slide deck that I like to keep myself on pace with when it comes to presenting, because oftentimes I will get lost. Is that the right screen?
Yes, it just says there's a pop-up that says enter full screen mode.
Oh, we'll do that. Does that give you the better screen?
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So we're going to talk about mastering memberships in Kartra. And I want to start with, what are memberships? Now, when I got into this world in 2018, my thought of memberships was my gym membership or my membership to Netflix, something that's going to keep charging me as I continue to access the service. But in Kartra, a membership is something a little different, and it is a place to keep content. It is that place that you can have be password protected or not password protected, depending on the type of content that you're keeping in it. And then we also talk about portals when we talk about memberships. And portals, again, I have to think about them in the way that I think about them. I think of portals as border crossings or logging into government websites. You log into your portal to access your information. And that kind of applies here in the Kartraverse as well. For Kartra users, a portal is just a collection of memberships that share a unique login page. So think of it from your user's perspective as a window to everything that you offer. I've got a membership screen capture on the left and then a portal screen capture on the right here. So I did get a lovely introduction from Grant, but some things that I want to touch on that maybe he didn't. I'm actually a 4th generation Floridian, which I think is really cool and not many people in the area get to say. We actually pulled a family tree as I'm pulling this out, and we found out that my great grandmother was born in the state of Florida in like 1897. So that's as far back as we can trace that. My background in education came from the University of Central Florida. I studied hospitality and worked in restaurants for 20 years before having Kartra being quite literally dropped in my lap, but that's another story for another day. I use emojis and GIFs as part of my love language. Bourbon and coffee are a direct route to my heart and soul, and road trips and traveling is something that I'm always super passionate about there. So within your Kartra account, if you are using a starter plan, you have the availability of 2 memberships. And if you're on a silver plan or above, you have unlimited memberships. And when I see people move from starter, one of the major decision points in moving is the quantity of memberships that they're allowed. That pairs really closely with the number of leads that they're allowed, but certainly having an unlimited number of memberships is a tremendous factor in deciding to upgrade from starter to silver. Now, memberships for the most part are a place to keep your digital resources. And on a surface level, we see memberships offered as digital courses where someone might pay one time or through installments. Memberships where people pay monthly or annually or any other set of configurations where their access continues as long as they're members. Digital downloads can be housed in memberships as free or paid resources. And then group coaching can also be housed in memberships as a resource library for clients to go back to, for recordings to be held, and all of that. But what I love memberships for is getting a little bit outside of the box and doing things that are a little unique to the end user. I've been able to see things like business SOPs for teams being placed within memberships. For staff trainings, I built a program for a gym that used Kartra's memberships to train their trainers on how they wanted the exercises done uniquely to that gym. Private coaching, and I've got an asterisk here because we're going to come back to private coaching because it's not necessarily an intuitive way to use memberships, but it's certainly a creative one. Retreat hubs, where all of the information for your retreat, from when you need to book your flights to where your accommodations are to registering for excursions, have been held in memberships as well. More examples of fun ways to use memberships. Kartra is using memberships to hold their monthly newsletters. I've set up private podcasts as a bonus asset to people who have been in programs through Kartra's memberships. Certification programs that require testing have been used for memberships. You can use memberships in creative ways to control how people progress through your system. Summits and bundles make a really creative outlet for holding all of those assets. So if you're selling something like a bundle where there's many contributors, all of those assets get bundled quite literally into a membership. And then when people buy access, they have access to everything that's within that membership itself. And then some other really unique ways, we've done a crowdfunding process where backers of a certain project as a bonus got access to a Kartra membership that was used to provide behind the scenes updates and progress as they were progressing through their crowdfunding process. Conference recordings can live in memberships. So if you're doing a conference or a live seminar and those discussions are recorded, those recordings can then be uploaded and provided as a bonus to registrants for that program. We've seen directories for different municipalities be held in memberships, directories for local organizations or for women's organizations, or really anything that fits the mold. And then resource libraries and vaults also have a really great use in memberships as they can be always added to and continually updated. And then templates and tutorials, where you could sell templates and then provide the tutorials on how to implement those templates. Trainings, Kartra memberships are amazing for gamifying the experience, and we'll talk about that in a slide coming up. And then challenges. Being able to drip out a challenge, either a live challenge or an evergreen challenge, is absolutely one of my favorite things to do in memberships. As far as memberships themselves are concerned, you can orchestrate your membership to be anything you want it to be. You can decide to run them in cohort style, where everyone goes through the program together and we all start on the same day. Like this program starts on September 1st, and everyone will get the same content as everyone else on the exact same day. Memberships can also be delivered evergreen, meaning that they can start at any time. So my experience when I start in September is exactly the same experience for Grant, who starts in January, and we would all progress at the same speed. Memberships can be free, orchestrated through forms and automations, or they can be paid and run through products. Do I have this in here twice? Maybe. Within memberships, you also have the ability to drip content based on date or time. So let's say in our example of our cohort style program, module 2 is released on September 7th, and that content would open to everyone on September 7th, or you can orchestrate this for time. So like Grant and I going through the Evergreen program, I got my next set of content on 7 days after I joined, and Grant got his 7 days after he joined, even though we're going through the program 6 months apart. Kartra recently updated memberships to have up to 10 unique levels. Before this, there were only 4, and this has really opened my eyes to all of the amazing things that we can do with unique levels. Levels can be configured in a way that you can run them as upgrades or different pricing components. So maybe you have a basic program that only includes video, and then your next level up includes videos and worksheets, and your third level includes videos, worksheets, and live sessions, and they're all offered at 3 different price points. You can also use levels to control the progression of the course as people consume their content. And then you also have the ability to track progress and see exactly how far people are progressing and how they're doing in your programs. You can also customize with code. And in this first image on the left, there is a lot of code going on in that image. And I have to give a little hat tip to Brian Katzong, who made all of that beautiful code happen. Code is not a conversation that I can jump deeply into, but know that coding within your membership is something that is possible. But you are able to brand it to your own business, and we're going to talk about branding to your business in just a moment. And then deliver unique and interactive experiences by stacking and layering other Kartra components within your membership. And this is something that fits all industries. And the challenge that I like to put out there is find an industry or a profession or a niche that couldn't use a membership area. And I had to reflect on client work that I've done in the past. And I'm like, ooh, it's so diverse. And the challenge that I have in my own business and internally is people asking, like, what niche do you serve? And typically, a platform isn't a niche, more, and that's why I find that I struggle tremendously with doing that, like that who is your human kind of experience, because my humans run all industries, from gym and fitness professionals to people that specialize in culinary arts, to people who run yoga and Pilates, to teachers who work on teaching parents and teaching teachers how to be better teachers, to language specialists, which I always find is the most fascinating thing, into astrologists, therapists, wedding planners, coaches, and just about every facet of coaches, from anxiety coaches to health coaches to parenting coaches, even farmers. That's a fun project. And then people who work in DEI and leadership for inclusion in the workplace and in life. Book clubs can be run out of a Kartra membership. Wellness professionals providing nutrition or healthy lifestyle decisions. Interior designers, and jobs and careers. So I've yet to find something where I go, I don't think a membership is right for your industry, because there are so many applications that can be applied to a membership. So I want to talk about a couple of clients today. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Megan, and Megan runs the Planner's Vault. Now, all of these case studies that I'll talk about today have been shared with permission. Now, Megan and the Planner's Vault was a project that we did in February of 2020. So really fun time to launch a program for the first time. The Planner's Vault is offered in monthly and annual style memberships. And now she only opens her program only a couple times a year. Since launching the Planner's Vault, there have been several supplementing courses that pair with the membership. So another unique way of managing things is partnering a membership with several different courses that are very niche specific and niche down even more specifically into different areas. Her program runs the gamut, whether you are just getting started in your wedding planning career, or if you're in that professional level, really looking to grow and scale your business. She provides expert mentorship from an industry veteran, and this is such a fun use and application of a membership. There are so many ways that you can make your membership your own. You can use brand colors, and we'll talk about brand colors when we get into the application. This is part of my brand guide that I put in here, but it's filled with teals and yellows and bright whites, and that carries through from my sites to my membership areas as well. You can bring in your brand fonts. Now, we touched on brand fonts with code, but if you're not comfortable using code, you can use something like Canva to create your headers with your brand font, bring those out as images, usually with transparent backgrounds, and then upload them as images into your membership, and you can still use your branding without having to use code. So there's a really nice workaround for not being comfortable with using code there. Custom video covers are also a really tremendous way to bring in your branding and your brand awareness. The image that I have in this example has all of my brand colors and a photo of me on it. Now, if I use that video without that photo of me, the picture that Kartra would have chosen for me might likely have my mouth open, one eye closed, a hand in the air, and I look like I don't know what. I'm like, this is the least flattering photo I have ever seen. And I certainly don't want that in the first shot that someone sees when they log into my program or into a new post. And then using the sidebar. So depending on the template that you've chosen for your membership, you have either left or right sidebar access, or in sometimes both. Use this space. It is incredibly valuable real estate. And use that to highlight other things within your community. In this one, this is one of mine. I'm linking to my help desk, my payment center, and then to my Facebook group as well. And then the fun question of what can go into memberships? Really anything. Text can be used to include like blocks of text, but it can also be used to provide transcripts for videos. As we become more inclusive in all assets, video transcripts and then captions on videos is something that is pretty much really, really necessary at this point. So text has lots and lots of use cases. Images can be used to provide mock-ups for images themselves. We use images quite often when we're providing digital downloads to capture that first page of the digital download that they're getting. Sometimes people don't need to download the download, they just need to see the information on it, and providing an image of that download is a really great way to do that. I already talked about my love affair with GIFs, and I'll put a GIF on any place possible. So oftentimes if it's all the way down to the bottom of a very long post, I'll throw a GIF in that's like, high five, you made it to the end. Videos have such great implication and use as well. Videos have the ability to use trainings and recordings. You can bring in videos from YouTube, Wistia, Vimeo, and there's one more in that box that I'm forgetting. But beyond the 4 components that are provided in videos, you can also embed any other type of video platform. I often use Loom as a place to bring in videos that have been recorded in Loom because they provide a quick and easy embed option there. Audio files make great options as well because, again, going back to inclusivity, maybe some people want to listen to these on the go. Maybe they don't want to watch a video, and just giving people the most options when it comes to consuming your content. Audio files goes back to having private podcasts available for your audience as they go through your program. Digital downloads can be hosted from Kartra files themselves or from Dropbox or Google Drive. And then you can also include other Kartra assets along the way, things like surveys or webinar registration forms or the Kartra calendar if you're running live events and want people to register to those events. And there's more. Links, because you can link a button in a membership to just about anywhere. If you had additional resources or affiliated links, you can link a button or hyperlink text to anywhere. I prefer throwing my links in buttons because you do have that really great option to open in another tab so people don't lose their space. I love using Kartra surveys as a tool for suggestions because sometimes my audience thinks of things that I don't think of. And asking them for their feedback really allows people to be seen and heard. Checklists, if you're running things like launch guides or things that people can do, like a grocery list, if you're a chef providing recipes to your audience. And then you can put in special offers in your memberships. So for example, in one of the vaults that I offer special member-only pricing that's only available in the vault. That's the only place it's linked. It's the only place that someone could find that, and it's an exclusive offer for people who are part of my program. And then to be able to take feedback, because if we're not asking for feedback, we can't get better and we can't improve upon what we've already created. I come back to, I don't know when I started saying this, but I am limited by your creativity and then my ability to create the most beneficial resources that really meet your vision. And when it comes to vision, I want to talk about Alex and Alex's HEAL method. And Alex came to me with a program for therapy for her clients, and she came with a pretty big ask. She wanted to be able to deliver a therapy program in a way that really met and respected where everyone was in their program. And there's a lot going on here, so let's break it down. At the top, in this area at the top where her categories are, those categories are actually layered into levels. And because of the nature of the content that Alex works with her clients for, it's not beneficial for somebody to get into the Live Your Life on Purpose area without completing the Healthy Mind and Body area. And linear progression doesn't really help us in this example because you can just click through the post. We'll talk about that when we get into the membership itself. So what we did was we used Kartra surveys as checkpoints. Each of her clients, when they finish the Healthy Mind and Body area, they get to the checkpoint and they answer the questions. Her choice here is to review the checkpoint questions and decide if someone is ready for the next area. If they are, she opens up the next level to them. Everything unlocks when they get into that next level. And if they're not, they go back and they run through the program again, they complete the checkpoint again. This is something that can be automated depending on the questions that you ask, but for Alex, she's preferring to do this manually, again, with the nature of the work that she does. We've brought in custom code for on-brand fonts here. We've customized her membership with elements on the sidebar that link to her Facebook community, her weekly call schedule, a quick jump right into her Zoom room, and then also her referral links, which I think is a really great thing to include on the sidebar. and then the ability to continue working with her when they're finished working in this program. The other ask that Alex brought to me when we created this program was she really wanted to use a membership area for her private clients. Now, the last screen we talked about were her group coaching clients, where everybody goes through it on their own, but in a group capacity. This is what we're using for private clients. Not on the screen, there is what we're calling a control. It's a membership that will never have anyone in it. It is a membership that is composed of all of the content that she could possibly give her clients. When she onboards a new private client, we make a copy of that membership. That membership is then branded for that one person that she's working with. It gets their name attached to it, and they have their own private space. This is the space where after their individual sessions, she can come in and turn on what resources they're ready for, and also gives her a place that she can upload their content, their recordings from her, so they can go back and watch those recordings and they're not just floating out there in never land of the internet or in an email thread that just never gets back to. This has tremendously elevated her client experience. So with that private membership, each of her clients has their own login link. Their name is on their login page. And how seen and heard and special do you feel if you're working with someone who has created a unique area just for you to work through? All right, so let's talk about stacking assets. Surveys can be used within the Kartra membership to poll the audience, poll the audience. I work with a client who delivers recipes monthly to her audience, and about the 15th of the month, she asks everybody to log in and complete the survey of what recipes they'd like to see. Everybody votes, and whatever gets the most votes, that's what she produces recipes for next month. Can also work as a suggestion box or to benchmark check-ins that we talked about with Alex. We've used surveys, actually the quizzes version of surveys, to test for certification. So if all of the membership content held, and then use the survey as a test that's requiring an 80% or above to get their certificate for continuing education credit, you can do that too. And then I thought of one as I was building this, is you can build out a customized route plan. So if you were to use the personality quiz version of the survey, and if somebody got a score of 50, we're going to recommend that you start in category C and then go B and A based on the answers that you gave. You're able to provide customized route plans based on the answers that they've given you. Your calendars can be incorporated by using your one-to-one calendar, your private or your group training calendars. And I talk about calendars here in the Kartra aspect of Kartra calendars, but you could also embed your other calendars, whether you're using Book Like a Boss or Calendly, or like for my business, I use Acuity for my calendar. But you could even go as far as creating Google calendars and embedding those Google calendars right into your membership space through embeds. With the new webinar feature, you can use webinars to run your group coaching events. Your webinars or your summits can be used, so they would just register for that summit right in the membership. And then you can also use the webinar area for live conversations. I love the built-in features of products where you can easily upsell and easily cross-sell components within your memberships. I think I've touched, I know what I wanted to do here. You could further on stacking features, surveys and quizzes can be linked to automation. So if you're looking for using a survey to see how someone's completed the program, you can fire off emails after that. You can also use automations to award points as far as gamification is concerned for completing certain areas. Locked content within your membership has a really beautiful area to upsell. So if we go back to the example that talked about, like, our basic level only includes the videos, You can also display the worksheets with a little lock key on it and a pop-up that says you don't have access to this, and maybe a video of you saying, I'm so excited that you're interested in getting the worksheets. Click below to add the worksheets, and as soon as they buy, they get access to that next level within the program. And then a really fun one is to be able to check in after a video has or hasn't been watched. So let's say someone buys into your program, and then the first thing they see is a welcome video where you say, hey, start here, watch this video first. And you put a tag on that video at the, let's call it the 7-minute mark. Well, you've also set up a sequence that says if they've been in your program for 7 days and they don't have the watch the video mark, send them an email that says, hey, I just wanted to check in. It doesn't look like you've watched the video yet. You can also do the exact opposite of that and say, hey, I noticed that you watched the video yesterday. I want to know what your big takeaway from this video is, and fire off those components automatically that keep you a little more engaged in what they're doing. All right, all of that said, I want to shift over to Kartra memberships and walk through some of the assets and the features with you. Does that sound like a good plan? I got some thumbs, I got some nods. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm like right where I wanted to be on time. All right, so when we jump into Kartra memberships, I just set up a brand new membership to serve as a demo here. There's a lot that goes into each one of these little wizard sections. And we'll start with this membership details, because this is one that I call attention to quite a bit. So your membership name here, but also your sales and promotional page. This is back reference to your login component that has the not a member button if you're using memberships, or to your not a member little text under your login page that would direct someone who gets to your login page to where they can buy it. And then this guy over here is the image that would be associated with your membership. And I'm just going to throw on this pineapple for fun and throw that right on here. It came from the image gallery. You do have the ability, we talked about it in the presentation, to ask if you want a password on your membership or not. Generally speaking, I say password protect your membership, but if you're doing something like Kartra is doing and running their newsletter, there is really no need to have a password on that. We don't need to keep that information for ourselves. The content area is where you will likely spend most of your time. And they've added some really fun features to the area itself. And I talk through these in like a top to bottom style fashion. But in the very top, you have the ability to choose which way you want your program presented, whether you want your sidebar on the left, on the right, or on the left and right. And I will tell you that most of the time I choose right, because the way it stacks on mobile, it stacks this way. It stacks left and then right. So instead of, if someone were to access this on mobile, I wouldn't necessarily want my name in progress and marketing the top of what they see. I would want to hold that to the bottom and really highlight the content that they get first. That's my personal preference. You may do whatever feels right for you there. And then you have ability to customize the colors that are within your membership itself. So I have my brand palette loaded, and I'll just use my light, it kind of looks a little brown, this bright teal color here. In this next area, I've brought over an announcement bar. An announcement bar can be something like an announcement that you're making to an audience, but I've also liked to use the announcement bar as a return to courses link that directs you right back to the portal. And I do that because if you log out, you're just taken right back to the login screen. And if you're offering multiple programs, then going back to the courses page might be the best avenue for your audience. Again, totally customizable and completely up to you. You can also change the color of this, but I wanted it to stand out, so I made it like this pinkish salmon-y color. All the way on the right-hand side in the next area is your top navigation panel where you can upload your logo, and then you can rename any of these top components for search, for profile, for sitemap, help, or log out, but they kind of hover over when you hover over them. This area underneath is another really great place to keep things that leave you just a little more on brand. The pencil is your editor here. You can choose to have text or not have text, and then it gives you the image size for if you were going to create something maybe a little more custom in Canva. I just picked a stock image for this, so while we're going through it. And then your categories are in the next banner. So categories are your top level navigation. Within categories, you can have subcategories, and it's gonna get a little confusing, so I'm gonna try to make it clear. Let me know if it's not. You can have posts within categories, and then you can have posts that are within subcategories. But if you have a category that has subcategories, you have to stick with that method. I think that makes sense. Define your categories first, and then you have the ability to create your post itself. And the post is where your content lives. So that's where all the good, juicy stuff goes. So we've named our post. This is a post. We've given it a description, and we've placed it in a category. You do also have icons on the side that you can use. So if you were using this one to include a video, you could include the video on that post, and then it shows up on the side, which might make it easy for like homework or video or audio file. On the left-hand side of your builder panel, you have all the additional assets that you can include. Your headlines, your text, your buttons. You can bring in videos from, oh, Kartra video was the other one that I forgot. How did I forget that? So your Kartra videos, you can bring in videos that you have uploaded to Kartra, and then they are just right here because they've already been uploaded. And then audio players, resource links, different buttons, download buttons, and a preference of mine personally is that I keep my downloads in buttons and I link to them. I do this for several reasons. First, I love that it gives me the option to open in a new tab. And second, it allows me to use a trackable link, which I can change the destination if the destination or the file ever changes without having to track down where that video itself is. And then as far as components that can go on the sidebar, you have a host, I guess widget would be the right word, with a handful of different layouts. I do want to call attention to that this little bio component is a required field, so you have to put something in here to satisfy it. I usually put a smiley face or an emoji in there. The progress bar allows you to track the progress. I love one of the newer features where you can include featured posts. So maybe this is a new posts area, and you can say, hey, this is a new thing that was just added this month, and you can change that out here. You can link to other products that you sell. And then the banner is where you really get creative because you can upload any image that you like to put in this space that can represent going to your billing center or your Facebook group, or maybe you're running a Discord channel that goes along with your membership, and you can just keep that right in the sidebar. All right, that's the membership area itself. I believe I've seen that there's a limit of 125 posts per category, and that's a lot of posts, but that's the only limitation that I believe I've seen when it comes to memberships. I've seen very, very robust, very large memberships, but there really is no limit to what you can do in this area. When we talked about layouts of the membership area itself, you've got top navigation and then right side or left side, excuse me, navigation here for you to choose from. And there's just 3. You can click and toggle and see which one you like before making a full commitment to that area. You also have the ability to choose to have comments turned on or off, and you can decide this by post within your membership. Your access levels, now this is where I think this gets really fun, is that you can have up to 10 access levels. And this is where you can say, well, this post belongs in standard, but not in level 2. And you can make those decisions per post to really customize the experience. Furthermore, you have the ability to choose when that content is released to people in your audience, either X number of days after they've signed up or on a specific day on the calendar. It is by post. So if you have different levels in your memberships and you're releasing your content at 2 different speeds, maybe a payment plan gets content released as they're paying their payments, and full pay gets their content released immediately. You do need 2 versions of each post in order to do that effectively, because the release date and time is based on the post itself, not the level that the post is in. When you choose to have content available at a future date, you can choose how you want your locked posts to be managed, whether you want them to not be displayed at all, displayed and completely unclickable, or if you want them to have a teaser window that we talked about in the presentation, where you can have any of these different style options show up. And then, oh, there's this one. Posts not yet available, but they will be available soon. So maybe this is your 3 days later or your 30 days later. The teaser windows do look a little different because they include a dynamic countdown, which I think is super fun. Within Kartra, they have an automatic ability, almost like an email notification, to send an email to your audience when new posts get unlocked, either by date or by days in program or dates in program. And you can send them this notification that says, hey, new content is just available to you. This comes with a pretty sizable disclaimer. This releases per post. So if you're releasing a module 7 days after they've been in the program and it contains 13 posts, you just sent your audience 13 emails. So just keep that in mind. All right, so your progress bar does allow you to include if you want a progress bar shown or not shown. If you want to show your progress bar at the bottom, that shows how much content your audience has completed. It is such a great option for keeping people inclined, because it's very satisfying to see that progress bar tick off after you've completed each section. Just a heads up on this one, the progress bar is related to content they have accessed, not necessarily content that they have consumed. Just keep that in mind. And then you can throw a completion badge when they've completed all of the content within your program. Communicating and keeping in help desk support is another beautiful feature of Kartra memberships. You're able to include no support, or link your help desk, or link to an external help desk link, or an email that you're using to manage help desk support tickets. A welcome message that gets sent after people gain access sends their login and their password and gives them instructions on how to get into the program itself. And then you have any automations that you would like to have after someone's completed this program. So tags applied, list subscribed, any additional automations that are here, and any sequences that you would like people added to. And Grant, that's what I have for today.
That's all? That was so good. So amazing. Thank you so much, Jessica. Honestly, that was just such amazing information. We have a couple questions, so we can start from the top here. Let's see. So Sheena was asking, she wants to do a self-guided meditations, but she wants her customers to be able to access the recordings with no Wi-Fi. So is it possible to download the audio files from the site I build? And we do know that's possible. Do you want to just do a quick screen share and maybe demonstrate that if that's possible?
I don't think I have any audio files in my account. Let's see. These are just samples. Great question.
Yes.
Okay, in the builder, if we did an audio, I have a bit of code that I use to put audio in that's just a little more aesthetically pleasing audio file. I don't see a download option on this. Let me look into this further and I will follow up with a comment in the, this is through this is to the Facebook group.
Yes, and we can too. Yes. Well, we have.
Let me see what I can find on this, and it might be something like also include the download, the link to it. Brian's nodding at me. Yeah, so I would have got there. If you include the download, the link to it, that would pull a download from there. But let me check it and make sure that that works the way that I'm expecting it to. But that would be my first thought on how you would do that.
Beautiful. Yes. Okay. So let's see the next question. Let's see here. There's a couple questions about, the password protection and, basically, there's people have a blogs and things like that. Questions about Google SEO and password protection. Any recommendations? Can Google see password protected information? Can it not? Kind of talking about that topic.
I don't have the proper knowledge to answer that question. I don't know how Google crawls. My knowledge kind of is like in a yard that's surrounded by like this big old fence. That's the Kartra wall. And I don't quite know how Google crawls password protected content. I know in Pages, you can toggle off if you want it crawled by SEO, crawled by search engine, but I can't speak to how that is, but there's Brian with probably the right answer.
Yeah, for a password protected one, it would require a login to set a cookie to allow the membership to present the information. So if it's password protected, no web crawlers are going to have access to those posts.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank
That's
you.
super. Yeah. Okay, so let's see another one we have here. Uralis asked, how do you connect the membership login page to the actual membership?
Oh, great question. I wanted to talk about this because it's kind of in a weird hidden spot. This is the right screen. Okay. Outside of the membership, from your membership area itself, if you click on the three dots and click login link, you'll have your admin login page that will show you the admin view that shows you everything within your membership. And then you have your member login page. This defaults to Kartra's default login page, which is just a pretty standard Kartra page that has the name and this guy on it. You're not a member link that links to what you put in for your sales page and your forgot password that resends your password. But in this area, you are able to, one, customize this link by hitting the pencil and editing your URL. You can place this on your custom domains as well as your Kartra issued domain and change the slug. You are also able to change it to a Kartra page that you have designed, and Kartra has 21 membership login page templates in the template thingy, vault template shop. I don't know what it's called.
Awesome. And yes, and then so on that, the difference between actually same person, Euralis wants to offer free classes, but then upsell them to paid courses.
Mhm.
What's the best way that you would set that up? And,
So
and he asked, do I need more than one membership?
generally speaking, yes. So for a free program or like a free course, if you're hosting it at a membership, use a form because forms are free. Alliteration there, forms free, products paid. To use the form to collect information and then pair it with an automation that says if lead completes this form, then grant access to ABC membership. Do you need multiple memberships to do that? It's tricky. And I hesitate because it comes down to what's going to be the most effective resource for your audience. If you can umbrella name something that is super generic, that nobody's going to be looking for something specific, it can go in one membership and use levels. But be really, really careful on how you name it, because if you're a dog trainer and you call it Euralis' dog training, that's a general enough name that you have how to teach a dog to sit and how to teach a dog to stay. They're all in Euralis' dog training. But if all of a sudden you have a training for cats, your audience is going to be confused because they're going to be like, wait, what is this dog thing? I don't understand where I'm supposed to go for it. So generally speaking, I say each course needs its own membership space, only for the ease and understanding of your customizing. I agree. Cats can't be trained. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you so much, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because I think they all relate. And I'm sorry, just let me know. It relates. It's like the foundations, and then you go up to the next tier. So I wanted to see if I could be like basically preview my academy, these free classes, and then go to the next one. That's what
I would think that all fits because it's all part of your program that you're teaching, and you have like a free level, a beginner's level, a pro level, but it's all the same topic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think that can all go in one. And then each area of focus gets its own level.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And I hope I pronounced your name correct. She had another question, actually. Do you have to design every lesson? What's that?
I said you sure did, Grant. I appreciate that, both of you.
Yay. Yeah, do you have more questions? Actually, you had one about, having to design every lesson or category.
Ooh, yes. Currently, there is no like template feature to your posts. There's no like clone category or that area. You can clone posts. So what I've started doing is really thinking about things in a high level option. So let's say that my program is video training. So I'm going to put it into a separate post. I'm going to put it into the admin category, and I'm going to call it, this is the video training. And it's going to have a headline, and it's going to have a video, and it's going to have an audio, and then it's going to have a text box for transcripts. I'm going to put that in an admin category, and I'm going to make sure no one has access to that admin category. And then every time I need to use a video post, I come into my admin post, I clone that post, I put it in the category that I want it in, and I have just given myself a huge shortcut in having to say, wait, what order did it go in? Headline, video, audio, transcript. And I can just shortcut my brain process to say, okay, here's the headline, here's the video, here's this piece. Oh, I need to get the transcript for this one. It's a shortcut for myself, but it's also a huge step in consistency for your program looking the same for every time. So keep those like templates in an admin category and just turn all of those off so your audience doesn't see them.
Awesome. Such a good tip. Yeah, I love that. All righty. So let's see. Scott asked, what is the best way to create interactive discussion area for members for a specific level?
I don't have a good answer here, Scott, and I'm sorry. Comments, but comments aren't like an interactive comment section. Like if I post a comment and then someone comes behind me and replies to it, I, as the original poster, I don't get a notification that someone has replied to that comment. A community feature in memberships is something that I'm crossing my fingers for. Currently, if you want to engage like a community component, my best recommendation here still comes back to Facebook groups. But that answer even really depends on your audience and where your audience eyes are to be able to make that component really viable. If you're working in a more professional industry, LinkedIn might be a better option for like LinkedIn groups, but people use things like Circle.io and Discord and Heartbeat for a community platform. But as it currently is, the Kartra membership area is really like a one-to-many, and it's not necessarily designed to facilitate communication. Think of the comments in a Kartra post as like a blog comment where you're not really engaging in conversation. You're just like, this was really great. Thanks so much. It's a tough conversation. There are so many community style platforms. Facebook groups tend to be the best for participation and engagement, but that's not always the best answer.
Beautiful. All right. So Senna's asking payment stuff. So when you, let's see. So when a member upgrades to the next membership level, does Kartra automatically cancel the payment for the previous level, or do we need to create automations for that?
You would need to create automations for that. And then you would also need to create like price upgrades. So if let's say your program was $100, your first program was $100 and your second program was $150, you would also need to create that upgrade price that covers $50 because they already purchased one. But you would need those automations that say, if person buys product B and has a subscription to product A, cancel product A.
Awesome.